Om Khandamandalakaram Vyaptam Yen Characharam Tatparam Darshidam Yen Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Ajnanatimidandasya Jnananjanam Shalakaya Chakshurumilitam Yen Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Gurur Brahma Gurur Vishnu Gurur Devo Maheshwarat Gurur Sakshat Parabrahm Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Today's talk, I don't know, for some reason, has been given a very strange title. The fact was that our people here who organized the talk, I was very busy, so they asked me, what title shall we give for the talk? And I had completely forgotten that there was going to be a talk. So, in surprise, I sent a message saying, Holy Mother of God. And they thought that it was the title of it. And I completely forgot it, completely. And when I came here yesterday, Naresh said, what is the title? He said, Holy Mother of God. I said, Jesus Christ. What? So, I'm sure many of you would have thought, anyway, that's okay. I don't mind. I have great respect for Holy Mother of God, but this is not the subject, okay? So, the subject of the talk today and tomorrow. Today, I want to speak on why we meditate. And tomorrow, we speak on how we meditate. We meaning you and me. There are many ways of meditation, not just one way of meditation. So, today I'm going to deal with why we meditate. I'm sure many of you are meditators. There must be some reason why we meditate. Because there are also a number of people who don't meditate, who are not interested in meditation. So today I'm going to talk about that subject. Why those who meditate, and why those who do not meditate would be a good idea to start meditating. And tomorrow we'll discuss the different approaches to meditation, tomorrow. So what is this meditation all about? Different people meditate for different reasons. Some people, they're not interested in spirit or God or exploring the inner being. They meditate because they want to get rid of stress, for instance. Lots of people who work very hard. Not like me, I don't work so hard. Well, I don't know, maybe I do. But people work very hard and they are so caught up in day-to-day life that they want some space for themselves where they can release their stress and quieten their minds. It's absolutely fine. That's one form of meditation. Then there are others who would like to go a step further and begin to look into why we as human beings are so complicated. What is it that makes us so complicated, our relationship so complicated, that we can't meet somebody for 10 minutes without creating some kind of a problem in our minds? So that's the next step. Some people meditate to clear that up and say, why are we so agitated? Why are we caught up in these complicated relationships and lives? And then some meditate because they want to discover their true self, who we actually are, as opposed to who we think we are. I remember the old movie, I think Peter Sellers acted in a movie. I think it's called The Party. I hardly watch movies. This was one I saw by accident. And in this movie, Peter Sellers acts as an Indian who lives abroad. So he actually works on his accent very nicely. And he's invited to a party, and he goes, and the place looks so new and complicated, this whole building, that he doesn't know where to pee. So he keeps looking for a place. And in the process, barges into a bedroom where there is a huge, big American guy with a woman, very intimate terms. This guy barges into the door, so he catches him by his collar and lifts him up. You know how Peter Sellers is a small man. He lifts him up and he asks him, "Who do you think you are?" And Peter Sellers says, "In India we don't think who we are, we know who we are." I always remember this story. So some who want to go deeper into meditation, meditate to figure out who they are. What is the source of our life? Are we just names and forms by which we are referred to in this world? Are we something beyond? So, then there are others who meditate because they feel inadequate in doing all the things that we normally do in life. Well, you know what it is like. I'm born, then I become a young boy, and then I grow, or a young girl, and then I grow up, and there is this teenage problems, and then I pass that, and I probably get married or have a girlfriend or whatever they do, I don't know. And then you probably have children, and then you grow old, and then you're ready to go and rest in peace. I don't know whether we really rest in peace there, nobody knows what happens, but supposed to rest in peace. So there are some who ask this question, is this all there is to life, or is there something more? Are we supposed to, like everybody else, eat, drink, enjoy a little bit and then go? Is life such a meaningless thing that you are born today, gone tomorrow, and there's nothing left? Or is there something more to it? So some people meditate to find that out. And there are people who are so artistic by nature, they would like to expand their minds and think of beautiful patterns and designs, and there are those creative people who also meditate. So there are different forms of meditation. And in India, this ancient land, when most other people were doing various other things, a big group of people were investigating the mind. Mind and the essence of being, metaphysics, psychology, and so on, much before psychology came into the mainstream. There were already people working on this. So we have a rich literature on this subject. Not because we are divinely gifted for it, but people from ancient times have been working on this when others were doing other things. Industrialization, physical science, material scientific advancement. When this was going on in many parts of the world, in India people were delving into one's own self and trying to find out this mind which appears so complicated. What is the root of the mind? Why do we think this way? Who are we? And so on. So these are the different reasons why people meditate. There may be several other reasons why people meditate, but I'm just pointing out a few general reasons why people meditate. Okay. So now we're going to take up some of these ways of meditation and discuss them. Okay. What is it that we, all human beings, seek in common? What's it that we seek? War, peace, food, what is it? Somebody says, I want to become a film star. Well, we're going to go to Hollywood in a couple of days. So, not to act, time has passed, but not interested anyway, because we are all acting our roles in this life. That's more than enough. Anyway, so what is it that somebody wants to become a businessman, somebody wants to do nothing? What is it that's the major concern? What are we looking for in this whole thing? And happiness. So at last somebody is speaking, okay? Happiness. So what kind of happiness? We are looking not only for, when you eat an ice cream, you're happy, but that's a small little happiness that here today is gone in 5 minutes, then you want something else to eat before you become happy. But still we are looking for happiness. Agreed. Not only happiness, we're also looking for fulfilling what we feel is incomplete. Suppose I have one car. I think if I have one more, maybe I will be happy. When I have one more, I'm not. So I look for something else. I have one wife, and I think we won't go into this subject. I already have a wife, and this might be seen there on YouTube, so let's leave it. So, what I mean to say is, human beings feel empty, not complete, not entirely empty, but not complete. So this whole process of life, without that, probably this life would have ground to a halt. Because you are satisfied, done, finished, you don't have to do anything, but we are not. The very reason that we are working constantly is that we are seeking some kind of completeness, which means we realize that we are not complete. There's an emptiness lurking somewhere around the corner. You have everything, and then there is some emptiness somewhere. So what do I do with the emptiness generally? Some people try to meditate. Some people go to the bar, where you fill yourself, the emptiness, with alcohol, and temporarily, everything is fine. Or even next day morning you're in trouble, but that's a different story. You again go back in the evening. So there is a search for happiness. There is also a search for completeness. There is a search for fulfillment. All of us, it's common. The monk who goes to the monastery is seeking fulfillment. The man who's now I'm very careful nowadays to say man and woman. So the people, let's say, the human beings, who work for fulfillment, like buying real estate or having a big house, they're also trying to move towards this eternal satisfaction and expansion and happiness. It's all together, actually. Now, we have a very beautiful statement that comes from the Vedas. The statement is, it's a mantra, sometimes used before gatherings, and before rituals, before we do something religious and so on. And this sloka is Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamaduchyate Purnasya Purnamadhaya Purnameva Avashishyate. Now if you notice, the common word in all the 4 sentences is Purna. And what is Purna? Completeness, fullness. So the Rishi says, the source of this entire world that we live in, not only humans, animals, everything, the source, the original source is actually by its very nature intrinsically Purna, complete. But this world that we live in, we find that it is not complete, we are incomplete, which is why we are looking for it. While the source is complete, at least theoretically, let's say, as a hypothesis, that suppose something is complete, the source, and we who have come from that source don't seem to be complete. We are incomplete. We are trying to fulfill it, close the gap, fill the gaps. So, why? Now the good news is the next sloka says, Purnamidam, this is also complete. But we don't see it, we see it as incomplete. So, the whole process of understanding through study, through meditation, through dialogue, is how to find that completeness in us which we seem to have forgotten. And deep down the mind knows that there is something complete in its essence, which is why it's working towards that completeness and fulfillment, though the direction in which it works seems to be wrong. Hoping that if you gather things from outside, then you would become complete, but we never become complete. When we have something, we're still missing something else, so we gather that. Now, there's an ancient Upanishad, which is called the Ishavasya Upanishad. The Ishavasya, nothing to do with foundations and organizations with such names. The Ishavasya Upanishad is an ancient 1,000-year-old Upanishad. It's not invented by anybody. So, the Ishavasya Upanishad talks about the supreme reality. If you ask me what is the connection with me, because I'm not at supreme, we'll come to that. It talks about the supreme reality as Ishavashyamidam sarvam. Yat kincha jagatyam jagat tena tyaktena punjita ma krita kasya svidhanam. I explain. It sounds a foreign language, so let me. So, Ishavashyamidam sarvam, that supreme reality which was referred to previously as Purna, completeness. Ishavashyamidam sarvam pervades everything here, which means there is not a single thing or place or situation where it does not exist. It is. We call it Isha because it is the supreme. Yat kincha jagatyam jagat. It pervades everything that moves in this universe. You know, the Sanskrit word for universe is jagat. Now it's derived from the word jagatyam, that which moves. So, is there anything that does not move in this universe? Nothing. Everything moves. You might think it's not moving, but it's moving. You think there's wood or there's wooden floor or whatever is not moving because it is physical material. Well, a scientist would tell you that there's a lot of movement going on. You can't see it, of course. Atoms are moving, electrons are moving, molecules are moving. There's constant motion going on. Nothing is still. And still waters run deep, but nothing is still. Anyway, so this movement goes on, and then the world, the earth moves all the time. The galaxy moves, the whole Milky Way is in motion. Change and movement is constant, going on everywhere. Now, we, a little child, and we grow up, movement, change is happening. The only changeless thing on earth perhaps is change. It's always there, moving. So, and as far as the human mind is concerned, I don't have to tell you that it's always moving. Can it be ever still and motionless? It's always moving. One thing to the other, one thought to the other. You know how the mind is? I'm sitting here today, right now. May not be my mind, but generally, you sit here and you think of someone, and within a second, you've already connected it and gone to things which are completely unconnected with where we started. This is called the stream of consciousness. In fact, James Joyce wrote a complete novel called Ulysses, which is like a stream of consciousness. You sit here, you think of, suppose I think of a coconut tree. I don't think many of you think of a coconut tree, but I come from Kerala, which is full of coconut trees. You sit down and think of a coconut tree. In a second, you'll be thinking of so many things which are connected to the coconut tree, and in 2 minutes there will be no coconut tree in sight. You might be thinking of a fish in the sea. This is how the mind operates. So the mind is moving all the time, and the world is moving all the time. So therefore it's called Jagat, because it is constantly in motion. Now the question is, in this movement that's taking place, is there some point of stillness? That's the question the Upanishad asks, and it says yes. The stillness begins when tena tyaktena bhunjita, when you let go and rejoice. Normally we think that happiness comes by acquiring. The Upanishad says happiness comes by letting go. It's an upside down thought, topsy-turvy. We think, if I grab something, I'm happy. The Upanishad says, let go and you're happy. Okay, I'll give you another example. Today we're not doing anything practical. We'll discuss that tomorrow. Just the theory. Suppose I desire something. Can somebody suggest something that I would desire? Huh? Mango? Something bigger. Okay, so I see many Teslas nowadays here. So I suddenly decide that if I have a Tesla, then my stature in this world would go up. Not so much because it's an electric car, but I'm driving a Tesla. So I desire a Tesla. Good for the environment, I agree with that. We still don't know where we could dispose of the batteries later, but we'll work that out. We shouldn't say that to Tesla. So, I desire a Tesla. And then I work very hard for it. I borrow from the bank, I do this, I do that. Finally, I have a Tesla. Here it might be Tesla or a Rolls Royce. In India, even for a small little car, one works very hard to get it. Okay, so you got it. When you get it, you're very happy. Your mind is, I've got my Tesla, I sit on it, I polish it every day for some time. And then I come in the morning and look at the bonnet if I can see my reflection out of good. So it goes on. Now what happens? So I think I get into this belief system that because I have acquired a Tesla, could be anything else. If I was younger, I would have said a beautiful girl or whatever. I still appreciate beauty, but anyway. So, I want something, then I work towards it very hard. I put all my energy into it and I acquire it. Okay, fine. And then I'm very happy about it. So I think because I have acquired something, now I'm fully satisfied. But I'm not, because it moves on. Tomorrow it's something else, right? I have a Tesla, but I don't have a nice person to sit with me when I drive. So it becomes 2, 1 to 2 and 3. And then the complication starts that in the end, who gets the Tesla as alimony, and it goes on. So, but still, when I first get the Tesla, I'm happy. supremely happy almost. And I think because I've acquired this car, it could be anything else, I'm happy. The yogis said, now look at this very carefully, they said, are you happy because you acquired something? Or really, are you happy because your mind has temporarily stopped craving? Temporarily, It'll start again, of course, like any other story. But why am I so happy? Because at that moment, for some time, when I've acquired what I think would make me happy, the mind has now stopped craving, and so it's become still, not moving. In that stillness is the happiness. I wrongly suppose that it's because I've acquired something. The acquirement of something has made my mind not crave for something temporarily. Therefore, I have this feeling of happiness. So, between the movement, constant movement of thought, there is a point of stillness which temporarily I seem to have acquired. Now, the rishis said, the yogis who went through this and studied this said, this can be acquired, this can be reached even without acquiring a Tesla. If you can find a way to find the gap between this constant movement, the stillness in the middle, like the eye of the cyclone, the cyclone howls and moves around and sucks in all the trees and whatever is around. But there is a point in a cyclone called the eye of the cyclone which has no movement, it's completely silent, and it's a vacuum. It's that which sucks everything in. So, the yogis say that there is in our mind a point which is very still, which happens when one understands that the supreme satisfaction that we seek cannot be found outside, but if you turn around and look, it could be found inside, where there is this stillness, where there is no movement of thought. There is thought, but there is no movement of thought. What is a thought? Thought is that I exist, that's it. And anyone who has touched that, even for a short period of time, can never be ever dissatisfied. There's supreme satisfaction. And that the Vedas have described as Satchidananda.